The gentleman I have by phone now is a gentleman by the name of Joseph Tittel, and what his name represents is a spiritual medium type of guy, a clairvoyant, psychic type of thing. Psychic is one of those catchwords that people kind of identify with. I want to welcome Joseph to the show. Welcome, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. Joe, give everybody a little background on what you're all about and what you bring to the table here.
Well, basically, you pretty much topped it off right there.
That's everything, right?
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Basically communicating with the other side. You know, I started out as basically, as you said, the term psychic when I was just a youngin' in my teens, and worked into the medium stage when I came to understand it when I got older.
Now, Joseph, did you always know you were quote-unquote psychic?
I didn't, because I grew up seeing things and thinking that it was a normal, everyday thing. So I didn't think I had anything special.
So you thought everybody had this gift and could communicate in that respect?
Pretty much. And anytime I mentioned it growing up, nobody ever wanted to acknowledge it. So
now, experiences. I don't want to talk about me too much, but the experience I've had, not as I'm sure it's not as intense. But is there a time between when you know your gifts and then when you realize that nobody else has that gift and now you're the outsider? Is there a time in between that you're kind of unsure about it as a teenager?
No, well, you know, it was after actually a psychic told me that I had the gift, and she basically pointed it out to me when I was about 13. Mm-hmm. And it was after that I really became to understand it and realize it a little more. Mm-hmm. And then I even started with the tarot cards, thinking that would be a tool that would help me. And I still, anytime I would get information for people, I would always blame it on the tarot cards, not on me. And then eventually I put them down, and that's one thing that helped me realize it, along with, you know, dealing with my own loved ones who have passed, who pointed it out to me a little more. Mm-hmm. That helped a lot. Most of it came out when I was in my 20s, my early to mid-20s.
Now, would you describe this gift as something that has been completely given to you, or would it be something that was given to you and you had to develop along the way?
I don't say develop, I would say more understand.
Okay.
You know, it's something I had to come to understand. It was always there. And, of course, you know, with anything, if you focus on it, of course you learn to understand it and better your ability at that. With anything, you know, anything that you do, you put your mind to it, you'll learn more about it.
Now, you have a radio show.
I do.
With WBCB, 1490 AM. Tell us a little bit about what you do on that show and what it's all about.
Well, basically, I talk about, when we first start, I talk about my weekly experiences, things that are going on. Sometimes I work on law enforcement cases, so sometimes I'll talk about that on the show and touch light about that, and then go into taking people's phone calls and answering questions based around their life. And sometimes when I call in and I ask a question, I'm able to get a connection right away. That's the thing with communicating with the other side. It does take a little bit of time, a little bit more focus. So sometimes, you know, the stronger the connection is, the more able I am to really hit, you know, right away.
Right.
Some energies aren't as strong, so that's why it takes a little more time. It's a little more time consuming.
Now, can people listen to the show at anywhere? Is it a streaming show or is it only broadcast live?
It can be live on the internet also.
Oh, okay. So they can connect through to you and listen to it anywhere. But they're hearing us now.
Anywhere, absolutely.
Then do you do a podcast also?
I do not.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hey, it's always always an option. I'd like to recommend Charlie Silvestri as a good guy to do a podcast show. He puts together our show and does a great job of it. And Charlie's being very modest over there, and he's shying away like, oh, don't talk about this again. But he's
that was
back.
Fun. I do upload them on my website, so you can listen to all my past shows.
So there's a way to listen to your shows. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's great. Joseph, tell me about what you've been working on lately. Actually, no, I want to ask real quick. You said about law enforcement cases.
Okay.
How enthusiastic is law enforcement for you to, one, be working on it? And I don't mean that sarcastic. I mean that seriously. You understand what I'm
I hear you.
And is there a limit to what you can talk about on the air?
Well, I can't tell you about a case that's unsolved, which are basically a few of them that I just worked on. Mm-hmm. And I did solve one recently, but they're still working on catching the person who they know who did it. I helped them basically give them the information that they need to catch them.
Right.
But they're not very always willing to accept the help. And I don't go out and say, hey, here, I'm a psychic, I can help you with that. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that. I believe that if it's meant to be, they'll come to me.
Okay.
And there have been cases where they have. And the recent one that I worked on, who I talked to that woman, she was open to it, but the only reason that she called was because the victim the victim's daughter called in and insisted that they call me to have me work on the case.
There's one case that you're working on right now. It was Steve.
No.
It was Steve.
No, it was.
And he's here right now, so send the police. Steve, you had a question?
Yeah, no, I was going to ask him, is there any cases that you've already worked on that you can talk about?
Not really, because I've only started doing law enforcement cases within the past year.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I did a show for Lifetime called America's Psychic Change.
Yes.
Okay.
And during that show, one of my challenges was to go to a crime scene without any knowledge whatsoever of the scene before arriving, not even knowing that it was a murder. I was able to give them so many details about that, including the whole fact that it was a botched robbery because of a hitman, So they made it look like a robbery, and I was able to provide those details. So since then, it's opened up the whole law enforcement thing for me.
Hold on. Was this the show? Hold on. Let's see if I can remember this. Was this the show where the girl was at the front counter, the gentleman came in and basically just tried to assassinate her and then turned it into a robbery type of thing?
No.
Okay. I'm thinking of something else then.
That is not it.
Okay. I remember seeing something like that, and I didn't know if that was what you were referring to.
They did do another challenge on there that I didn't participate in, with something with a bar scene and a murder there, but I wasn't on that part.
Okay.
With the one I did, I actually mastered it more than even than I even thought I would do, because I never did that before, and they don't give us anything.
Right.
Nothing. You walk in and the host, and you got to tell them, and you got 30 minutes to do it.
It's cold. It's cold then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I even laid down where she died.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. I mean, it's is it one of those fields where when you get it right, you feel you even have a little bit of regret because of the circumstances while you're there? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's so tragic that, whereas as a psychic, you might get a rush that, I actually tapped on things, but you have to temper it with the circumstances that actually took place.
No, not really, because I believe that everything's meant to be.
Oh, okay.
And if I'm there for the reason. I just believe that. There's only one case that I did where I actually contacted the police.
Okay.
And they weren't really willing to accept very much either, but she said they were open to it because it was a murder case where they were taking tips. So I called in with my tip, and this was a murdered police officer in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
And I told them, and I never call. That's just something I do not do.
Mm-hmm.
But I was tormented by basically my guides or whatever spirit was around tormenting me to call, because I knew the guy's name, and I knew that he was where to find him. And, they never said that my lead helped them, but I told them that his name was John, and that they'd find him in a homeless shelter. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh, wow.
They never call and say thanks.
Right. Well, when you were given the information, did you come out and actually say that the way you got it was basically on a psychic level, or and if so, what did they say to you? I mean, what was the reaction after you gave that information?
Well, it was a female officer, investigator actually,
okay.
And she said she's very open to it on a personal level, but not on a business level. Because basically they'll torment each other over it. The cops will tease each other about it.
Okay.
And that's really one of the reasons why they won't touch it. All because they're afraid of what people will think.
Right.
But, I was giving her information, and right away she was able to validate things.
Wow.
I gave her street names. I told her where one of the places he hid out at was either a mother's house or whatever on a certain street.
Mm-hmm.
She even paused and she went and looked at the map because she wasn't sure if that street even existed in the area of the crime. And I told her, it was maybe a quarter of a mile from the scene. And she went and looked at the map and came back and said, wow, that street does exist.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty telling when they don't even know it and you
right.
actually phone in. Now, was this in Philadelphia or was this in another area?
That one was Philadelphia.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
At any time, did she seem to get suspicious of you because you were given so much information as well?
I didn't feel that, no.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Steve, get the cops after him. Why don't you say that?
No, I'm just wondering, because
I'm waiting for that day to happen,
Yeah. I mean, because, that's, when you get all that information, somebody's giving it to you, you're going, well, geez, how could you know that? Nobody else has come forward with any type of information like that. And you're giving too much information. They start suspecting, well, how do you know all this?
Right. I did another one from 1969, a cold case.
Really?
And basically the cop said what you just said, that, I'm not that old, I'm only 37, so
right.
He said there was just things that if you were at the right age, I'd be looking at you.
Exactly.
Because there was just too much that you knew that absolutely nobody knew.
Right.
Right.